Former President Trump speaking to the Fraternal Order of Police in North Carolina. Hello, everyone. I'm Judge Janine Pirro, along with Jessica Tarloff, Jesse Waters, Katie Pavlich, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. Former President Trump reacting to a massive victory against the Democrats' lawfare scheme to sink his re-election bid. The judge in his hush money trial postponing sentencing until after the presidential election. Listen to this.
I was not a defunder like Kamala. She was a defunder. She was a 10-year defunder. When you want to defund for 10 years, that's the end of that one. The Manhattan DA witch hunt against me has been postponed because everyone realizes that there was no case because I did nothing wrong. It's a witch hunt. It's an attack by my political opponents in Washington, D.C.
It's a blow to the Democrats who are hoping to lock up their opponent before November as the Kamala sugar high wears off. Axios just dropped a scathing piece on how Harris dodges scrutiny by copying Joe's self-protection media strategy, skipping tough interviews and avoiding any off-the-cuff chats. The hiding Harris strategy protects the VP from her epic list of flip-flops, the latest being this 180 on banning plastic straws. Check this out.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should. Yes. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. It's really difficult to drink out of a paper straw when you if you don't gulp it down immediately, it starts to bend.
Yes.
And then, the little thing catches it. And then, so we got to kind of perfect that one a little bit more.
A campaign official now telling Axios she doesn't support banning plastic straws. Okay, I'm going to start with you, Katie. If you're trying to differentiate yourself from Joe Biden, isn't it a bad idea to copy his basement strategy?
Well, first, I think if you don't take positions on stupid things like plastic straws, you don't have to walk them back. Like, all these Democrats took these positions to ban plastic straws, and then we learned that the paper straws they were forcing all to use actually have more chemicals and cancer-causing things in them than the plastic straws, and you can't recycle them. So, again, that's a problem. But in terms of the strategy, I mean, Joe Biden was able to win in 2020 based on the basement strategy. Now, it was a different time. We were in a pandemic. But it's clear that the strategy is she's more of a liability on the campaign trail in a press conference, for example, than she would be just hiding behind the scenes and not taking questions. And the bottom line is that her flip-flops and her record during the 2019-2020 presidential race can't stand up to scrutiny, which is why they are not allowing anybody to really ask her about all the things that her campaign, not her directly still, claims she's changed her mind on, because voters in the Democratic Party rejected that. And she's trying to present herself now as a moderate on the campaign trail without questions from people asking why she has changed her positions from far left to what she's saying is not just Trump's positions, but also many of Joe Biden's positions as well.
You know, Jessica, this flip-flop with the straws is, again, one of the many 9 from, she's not in favor of banning fracking anymore, to all of the other things from, mandatory gun buybacks and decriminalizing border crossings. But wouldn't it be nice if we heard from her instead of a spokesperson, at least on the plastic straw thing?
She did an interview last week. She sat down with Dana. Listen, the goalposts could not be moved any further. I understand this is something that aggravates the media because all we want to do is to have people accessible to us so we can constantly talk about them and scrutinize every single thing that they said. But this would carry a lot more weight if she hadn't just sat down with Dana Bash. She is doing debate prep. If you want to mock her for trying to be prepared for what could be the biggest night of her life, that's going to fall on, it's in bad taste, false ears. I don't know what the right saying is for it. Kamala Harris is running a campaign that is resonating with the American public. That's just a fact about it. She has moved so far ahead of where Joe Biden was, up 7, 8 points in some of these states. She just pulled in $361 million in fundraising in August. That's triple what Trump brought in. And the most exciting part of that is that 1.3 million of those donors are new donors, people who haven't given in this cycle at all. And the stories that people are trying to pin on her, like the Washington Post did this deep dive into the turnover within her office, also citing the fact, by the way, that Mike Pence had 83% turnover in his office if you're using the same standards. But these quotes are ludicrous. Like, someone who worked for her said it's stressful to brief her because she read all the materials and annotated it and prepared to talk through it. God forbid the woman actually read the briefing book. And this all flies in the face of what people had said about her, that she was unprepared, that she was pissed at people for not prepping her. It was all about how she took this so seriously that she took it like a prosecutor would and was like, I'm not just going to do this because you told me to. I'm going to ask you why. And I have not met yet a real live Democrat who says, you know what I'm really mad about? That I don't see Kamala Harris all the time in big interviews. They're watching her at rallies. They're listening to what she had to say. They're high off the DNC 100%, and they're giving their money.
Jesse,
I
they're
don't even think
watching
she
her at
believes
rallies.
that. She doesn't even believe that.
Jesse?
The Kamala whole
Jessica? I do.
It's fading. She's fading. Her numbers are fading. She peaked in August. Everybody knows it. Nate Silver now gives Donald Trump a 62% chance of winning the Electoral College. I don't care how much money she
Nate
raises.
Silver's mad about his convention.
I don't care how much money she raises. Hillary raised twice as much as Trump, and he smoked her. She's reading these briefing books about policy because she doesn't know what her policies are. That's why she's cramming, because she has no idea what happened the last 4 years, and she has no idea what she's supposed to say because she doesn't know, because she doesn't have an opinion. She's an opportunist who just rode the machine to the top and got lucky because Joe crapped out. If the media is saying, Jessica, that she's dodging scrutiny, they're the ones who were supposed to scrutinize her.
Well, they
What
are.
are they? No, how?
They're
not-
writing these junk pieces.
They're not writing junk pieces. They're writing about how she's a great cook and how she's filled with joy. If you had a fair media, they'd be writing stuff about, like, oh, only committing to one debate? Well, where are you? You're a flip-flopper. You don't know what you believe. That's how it would be in real life. This is like a cook complaining about the food. You cooked it. It's their job to interview these people. You don't even hear them yelling anything interesting when she's going up the steps. She wants the job, but she doesn't want to do the job. She wants to be able to coast through November on these vague platitudes about vibes and values without ever having to explain what she believes, because she's told what she believes. She doesn't have any core beliefs. She's basically a California socialist that failed up, and here we are. Donald Trump has to do this at the debate. He has to define who she is. Right now, he's been able to do that, but he has to repeat it. If he just gets into this repetitive thing, this is who she is, this is what she believes, this is why she's hiding, this is why she's scared, that will sink in. If he's not able to do that, then she does have a shot.
It's big of you to admit that.
All right, Greg.
Well, I mean, the rise of Kamala isn't surprising at all. It should happen when you, she really moved ahead of Joe Biden. That's because a corpse doesn't move. That's how she's showing how different she is from Joe. She actually has a pulse, and meanwhile, they're putting him behind a tiny desk as a form of humiliation to create even more distance. And the media got right behind her. So she should be going up. But I agree with Jesse. It seems to be leveling up. But I want to go back to the flip-flopping. It's great to change your mind, but you got to show your work. I've hated the Red Hot Chili Peppers for 20 years now? Everybody knows that. I ran on it in 2016. But if today I come out and I say, you know what, Californication is a classic album, everybody would be justifiably suspicious. You need to know what happened. I need to show my work. Did this come from months of pondering? What Kamala is doing is not an internal decision. It's not born from contemplation. It's external. It comes because an election is coming and she has to change her mind, which leads to the bigger question. If you're changing your mind because a majority of voters who reside in the sensible middle prefer those positions, why don't you take those positions in times when there aren't elections? What does it say about your positions that you adopt them now and not when people aren't paying attention? Shouldn't that tell you something that maybe you're secretly, not so secretly, ashamed that, when voters are paying attention, you drop your actual beliefs? I don't know. That's like me suddenly liking the Red Hot Chili Peppers because some girl I'm dating says it's her favorite band. None of my friends would buy it. They would go, that's ridiculous, Greg. You've hated him forever. Why are you wearing a Red Hot Chili Peppers t-shirt? And I'm going, I think Anthony Kiedis is a talented singer. They go, no, it's not. It's because of her.
Gonna get angry mail from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
There aren't any fans anymore.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.